American Meridian University. Understanding a force field analysis is a part of the American Meridian University's series on quality systems management tools. The learning objectives of the force field analysis. At the end of this video, users should be able to articulate the usage of a force field analysis, explain how to develop a force field analysis, and demonstrate the development of a force field analysis. What is a force field analysis? The force field analysis is a technique for documenting, deliberating, and appraising the numerous forces for and against proposed change. It is a decision-making tool as well. What is the value of a force field analysis? Through understanding the driving forces and restraining forces, force field analysis users can build strategies to diminish the impacts of the restraining forces and strengthen the driving forces. More on the value of a force field analysis. Through understanding the positives and negatives of a force field analysis, users can build strategies to diminish the impacts of restraining forces and strengthen the driving forces, establish whether a recommended change can gain needed support, recognize obstructions to successful resolutions, and propose actions to decrease the strength of restraining forces. How to develop a force field analysis. In developing a force field analysis, start with a well-defined proposed change. Then we want to draw the force field analysis diagram. You notice on this diagram there are 3 checks. In the center we see the proposed change. That is, add to the strategic educational technology plan a new learning management system. Then you want to brainstorm ideas. These are ideas for driving forces and restraining forces. So in the driving forces, we see a list of 5 driving forces. These forces should be well thought through. Also, we want to document restraining forces. Again, these forces should be well thought through. Some questions to ask yourself. Are these actually the appropriate forces? How do I know that these are the forces? Validate that you have the appropriate driving and restraining forces. Now let's talk about scoring the force field analysis. To the sides of the driving forces and the restraining forces, you see weights. On this force field analysis, we're using a 1 through 10 scale, 10 being the highest, a 1 being the lowest. After the forces have been validated, you're sure that those are the actual forces, you're going to want to weight each one with a 1 through 10 assigned score. This is very important, so it is important to be careful and think through the process well. Once you have documented the weight, then you're going to add them up. You will notice 2 red arrows at the bottom of the force field analysis. On the driving forces, we have a score of 44. On the restraining forces, we have a score of 34. before. Now, it is obvious to see that there is a 10-point difference between the driving forces and the restraining forces. Here, we can see that the driving forces are outweighing the restraining forces. We have reviewed the scores and we see that there is a 10-point difference, with 10 points being on the positive side. What does that mean when we look at the actions for driving forces and restraining forces? Here we have driving force, no action needed. Restraining force, the project manager has some work to do. What does this mean? This means that individuals on the restraining force side need to be brought into the fold on the driving force side. This can be done in numerous ways. At the end of the day, the information that needs to be delivered is, why is the change needed? Why is the change desired? What is the key information showing that? Provide clarity on those key points that say a new system is needed. Explain how it's going to be done, such as evaluating LMSs to determine the best one appropriate for the project. At the end of the day, it is important to have all of the stakeholders on board with the project. Next, we have the bibliography. Please review the readings listed on this page to help you enhance your understanding of the force field analysis. Feel free to review this presentation as many times as possible. Thank you from American Meridian University. Visit American Meridian University at www.amu-edu.com. We welcome your questions and comments.